welcome back. This is my summary of my previous 4 videos on the subject of this upcoming solar event. So let's recap. In part 1, I'm talking about all the elements that were presented to me. In part 1, there was a single planet. There was the sound of the electric voltage lines, like there was the thick fog around that planet, and I was told that that planet is not going to be there next time I am visiting. And of course, there was in the view the majestic Earth, the peaceful, very serene image of the Earth. This is actually very simple. What is being communicated to me, that something that is going to happen has to do with lots of electrical charge. The thick fog, and the planet might be represented by Venus. That's my leaning towards that, and that's what I think is the logical explanation here. Now, somehow both of those planets, the Venus and Earth, they are going to have influence on each other sometimes in the future. It is possible that there is going to be another movement of planet Venus farther away from the Sun, and that is going to affect Earth. And or it's another possibility that Venus at some point is going to cool down and turn to planet like Earth. But we will see. In part 2, that was the most scary part of all of them. There was the red sun, there was the trembling ground, there was the brown-red background. Nothing was alive, everything was dead. There was this massive cross moving across the sky, and the voice saying many will die. This part is also self-explanatory. So whatever is going to happen with our sun is going to bring lots of hardship. I found myself in front of iron bars that were leading from some kind of underground tunnel. The iron bars are always representing some kind of restriction, that there is lack of freedom or some sort of, some restriction. What I'm thinking about is those iron bars, they are we did that to ourselves. This is not something that happened from somebody else for us, but it is coming just for humans like me and you. We did that to ourselves. There are underground tunnels everywhere, so you will find out about that stuff when the time comes. More and more people are aware of that there are tunnels, there are caves, there are all kinds of structures underground as shelters. The strange beings, they represent, there is always someone looking over us with either with technology or without technology. Like in this case, you may say that those are aliens. I have a little bit different opinion about that. Those are simply people that are working in different groups. There are people which are belongs to different tribe. Those are people that are living in a different environment, and the way they look is influenced by that environment, and I know that for a fact. However, I don't have any evidence to give it to you to prove that, but I am aware that whatever we call aliens, they are nothing more than survivors from a previous cataclysms, and they have a bit different feature, but they are not that different than we are. Now, in part 3, we have again there is a lot of, in all those visions, is the brown red sky. There are those beams of light coming out from the west side. So if I look at this and I analyze that, then that means that whatever it's happening in front of the somewhere in Europe, maybe Central Europe, maybe Middle East, somewhere in that area. So the three of them are dark orange beams, and one of them is like a trail of a comet or rocket going to the space. So this trail is most likely caused by either Venus moving away from their position where it is right now, or the sun ejected something, which is also a possibility. We will see when that happens. Now, Douglas is correct about the rotation of the Earth is going to change, and when I saw that sunrise in the west, I was kind of surprised that the sun was already up. Strangely, the sun was in front of some kind of cloud, and it was not bright. It was just maybe 20-30% of its brightness. Now, from what I know, what is being shown to me is that galactic ripple is pushing some kind of debris and dust cloud that is very thick and is heading our way. Actually, we are heading towards it, or it depends how you look at this. We are going to be in that cloud first before it hits the sun. So how is that going to affect the nova? I have no idea. It's all up in the air, but what they keep saying to me is that the event that we think is going to happen in a specific way may not, because the biggest loss of lives is not going to be the main event. It's going to be before, to which I am going to make a series of videos explaining that. But you probably have already something on your mind, and most likely you are correct. We are in very sticky situation right now, and this is gonna blow in our faces. Now, in part 4, this is the most confusing to me, and probably you and everybody else, images, because there is this flock of flamingos flying towards the Greenland. I cannot explain that. I don't know what that means. Either this is happening before the main event, but then why would they fly to Greenland? It is cold and they like to be in hot climate in the tropics. So if this is happening afterwards, then the question is how they survived. Where did they survive? So birds, animals in general, they have better sense what is happening, and they can sense impending dangers, and they try to move to areas where they are safe. So I simply don't know how to explain this. I have no idea. We will see when the time comes. Douglas, in his last videos, is claiming that the government is already doing something, and they don't need so many people, that there is this plan to eliminate some people, and those who will stay, there is gonna be help and so on. This is not necessarily correct. The plans are already in motion for the past 200 or more years, so the shelters are already in place. On Earth, we are divided to more than just the government groups and military groups and the groups above the groups, because that's how it is. Will the government step in and help us? No. Government is it will collapse, and it's going to happen soon, for various reasons. First of all, they are very corrupt. You cannot you cannot give that decision making to those people within the government, because they are gonna use that for themselves only. And there is another part, that the vengeance of the people, of the citizens of any country, is going to be so loaded, so the people are going to be so angry that they are going to start, trying to lynch them. Therefore, the best approach to this is just collapse the governments and let things happen on their own. Shelters are already occupied. There are people already in them. This is already in progress. So if you are thinking of surviving at any cost, first of all, you should make an attempt to do that, but I can tell you that you have very little chance, if any, because this takes time. It would take about 3 generations to train people in cooperation, in all techniques, in all the possibilities that may come out of it. And even then, only percentage would survive. So right now, if someone is planning to go into the caves and try to survive, basically it's just not going to happen. We don't have too many people which are trained in survival in extreme conditions. We don't have people that can survive afterwards, because there is going to be a long period of time, 3-4 generations of people that will have to just survive, so the 5th or 6th generation can start rebuilding the civilization. So this is not a simple process as people may think. And the other is reason, what are your motives? If you are so attached to the physical reality here, you are in trouble. You probably should rethink this whole thing, and I will explain in the future videos what is behind this whole thing, why is this happening, and it's not what Douglas is saying. It's simply what he's describing is the elements, the visible effects that he can analyze and say, okay, this influenced this, this influenced this, but there is another part that he is not mentioning in those videos because he didn't get that far. Of course, he thinks that the whole thing is run by something called Diehold. He came pretty close to explaining this process, but it's not what it is. And no, we are not living in some kind of simulation. We are not holographs. It's just a myth that needs to be finally addressed, because too many people believe that this is, yes, he's correct about the information, but not the way he's presenting that. I will give you the update completely with details as it was presented to me. Okay.